Uh-oh.
Oh, everybody, the feathers is ruffled. This is
Lady Shy.
I'm your boy, Mr. Dearest Teddy, and welcome to the Sophisticated Grizzly. We're about to start some shit. I'm sorry, people. We still talking about funky wolves and musty jackrabbits for some reason. But welcome to the Sophisticated Grizzly, where we're not being very sophisticated at the moment. But it's my fault too. It ain't just you, because that shit funny. But tonight we are talking about the hypocritical dad theory. We're talking about something that our resident sis, Miss Bronwyn, brought to my attention. So we have decided to make a show because she's smarter than me. So the whole premise of this is when she sent it to me and says, what's wrong with the guys? Or let's do a show about guys that train their daughters to be independent, but then expect a submissive woman. Yeah. So we got, of course, Miss Bronwyn, we got JB, we got my man Rich, we got the full panel on here, maybe a couple of people popping on a little later, but right now, of course, we have the incomparable Miss Shy.
They were trying to get into the screen.
Yes. And there she is. we working on my cell phone tonight because my laptop's a piece of trash. So
yeah, we're
gonna make this roll and make this happen anyway. So I want to go to Miss Bronwyn first. What made you decide to come up with this one? Because this one's fire.
Yeah, actually, I heard it on the radio. I'm not sure how they exactly got on the topic, but I'm guessing they were probably talking about again, what most fellas talk about, the need to have their women be submissive and to be, I guess, softer or to be how can I word it? I guess kind of softer, to be more of the type of woman that shows that she needs a man or needs something from her man, whether not necessarily needs a man, but kind of like, how women can kind of play like the damsel in distress, or I can't do this, or I can't lift that, or I can't, do things and I need a man to do it kind of woman. And a lady actually called in and she said that she was like, she finds it strange that you hear men all the time, now correct me if I'm wrong, say, I'm going to raise my daughter to be independent and not need a man. So she can do things for herself, that she don't have to depend on a man to do. But those, and it's not all men. This start that from the top. It's not all men, but then you have men that raise their daughters that way, but they don't value those same characteristics that they put into their daughter in the women that they are choosing to date or be with or marry.
Yeah. Okay. JB and Rich, y'all chime in on that. What y'all think?
I think that there's this misnomer that if you teach your daughter to be independent, she can't be, I wouldn't say submissive, but a welcoming partner. And I think that's the big difference with how I look at it, because I did raise an independent, Black, strong woman who definitely looked for traits and characteristics that are going to be a counter to what she wants as a mate. And she's going to be strong and she's going to be independent, but she also needs a helpmate. And I think that's the difference, helpmate, or someone who complements her lifestyle, complements who she is. submission is an act of giving up your will freely to being service to someone else. So
Yeah.
even a dominant male is somewhat subservient to his submissive female on certain things.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
yeah, you can expect your daughter to be strong, single-minded individual who can take care of herself. But I also raised her to know that a helpmate should be somebody who's an equal to you, who will work with you, not somebody who you can acquiesce to them at times, but you don't have to be subservient. And I think that's the difference. Submissive and
Mm-hmm.
subservient are two totally different things to me.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
What
And
about
Yeah.
you, Rich?
I kind of agree with Big Bro here. I definitely believe you should raise your daughter to not need a man, but there's a difference between not needing a man and wanting a man at the same time. So
Mm-hmm.
you can be
Yeah.
independent and submissive at the same time. So
Yeah.
yeah, I agree with him. He hit it
Yeah.
on. What's that word you
Yeah.
said? Immersion?
What?
What?
What you saying there, bro?
What would you bring out?
Every week.
Acquiesced, I believe you said.
Acquiesce
Was it the word acquiesced?
or subservient?
So sorry. Well, we have a new one on the panel today, a new fellow on the panel today, Mr. Roach. What's up, my man? What's going on with you? How you doing?
Hey, what's happening now? I'm doing all right, man. I'm doing all right.
That's what's up. Welcome to the Grizzly, my man. Now, we want to know what your opinion is on this.
What he look like?
I'm in my patrol
The
car,
beard
so it's
is
kind
all
of hard. I can't leave this light on. You know what
Why
I'm
she gotta
saying?
do this? Why
Yo,
she like
she got
this?
to pick one. We
Why
know
you
she got to
like
pick.
this?
So just so y'all know, sis knows exactly who this is, and she know what he look like. She just wanted to give him hell.
Well, she ain't seen me in a month of Sundays.
Yeah. I done forgot.
so forth.
Yeah, so is everybody else.
So what's up,
But
bro? What you think?
you know, I I disagree with the other two gentlemen because it's like when you're raising your daughter, just my opinion, are you raising her to be submissive or to be independent? And my opinion is you're doing both. It's really not one or the other because you raise her to be independent, then it's is it gonna be, well, do what you gotta do, you don't need a man, but then you're still raising her to, you know, get married and be submissive to a certain point. You know,
Mhm.
everybody has their um, likes and dislikes, their roles within themselves that they will learn on their own. But my uh, my feeling is that you're really raising her both ways. It's
Okay.
it's really not one or the other. It's a mixture of
Okay.
both.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
you want to be there when you give your daughter away and for her hand in marriage to another man. So you're building that up too. So it's for me it's kind of hard to say one or the other because for my opinion it's kind of both.
Okay.
So what
Got
you
you, sir.
disagree with,
Okay.
Roach?
Was that
What you disagree with?
what you two gentlemen were saying? Not necessarily disagree, but I think you're for me is I'm raising my daughter to be independent, but at the same time, you know, have a welcoming young man to be in her life.
That's what I said.
Well, go ahead, Shasha.
I was gonna say, growing up, my father raised me to want a man, not need a man. I was taught that not be a helpmate, but a helpmeet. So my goal is to make sure that I meet my husband's needs, um, not just assume what he likes. So find out what he needs, what his goals are, so that we can be on the same playing field. Like if he knows how to he knows how to build something, I'm his assistant. If I know how to do something, he's my assistant. Like we're supposed to be able to need each other. And so when the submissive part that I was trained, that we're both supposed to be submissive towards each other. So again, that's where the help meet part comes in. We meet each other's needs. So like if he can't take the trash out, I'm not afraid to take trash out. I don't like taking trash out, but I was taught that don't be afraid to do that. That's part of the independent part. You have a lot of women who was trained not to, because you have a man that lives there, so your hand should never touch the garbage. But if he's not available and it needs to go, that's part of training to be independent. So it's ways of teaching your child to be independent and also submissive at the same time. But some people, the way they teach it, it makes it confusing for the child.
Mm-hmm.
So then they're like not sure which way to go, especially when you have the ones that are like hard pressed on independence. Then you have the ones that are hard pressed on submission. So the mom might be really independent, and the dad is like, "Oh no, you shouldn't do it this way." So it confuses the kids.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think for me, it's not about independence or submission. It's about learning how to be a teammate.
That's right.
Which is
And I think the problem is with some guys, some men, and like I said, this ain't a shit on a man session tonight, but we're just talking real, because we know some guys like this. They do have that mindset where I'm gonna teach my daughter to be completely and totally independent, but then get mad at the independent woman standing before them that her father raised. Now you mad at her father because he raised her to be independent. Well, she's stubborn and she knows she's raised to be the same way that you raising your daughter. Yeah. But I think the problem is we're worried about independence and not worrying about how to be a teammate, how to work as a team, how to work together as a couple. And we teach our children, I want you to be able to fend for yourself, but we don't teach them, I want you to be able to fend for yourself, but also work together with another person. And that's where the problem comes in. Mm-hmm. That's where a lot of times we have the issues, because some of our little girls don't know how to work as a teammate with a man, because they're so worried about, well, he's not going to tell me what to do. He's not my father. He not this, he not that. Mm-hmm. And as opposed to being like, you know what, let's try to figure this out together. It's not about you telling me what to do. It's about you telling me what's right if I don't know, and listening when I know better than you. It's about working as a team. And I think that's where it's lost, but it's the same thing with little boys. We teach them how to, let's be kings in the house. Let's be kings of our castle. Kings have an advisory court.
That's right.
And the problem is a lot of times people don't understand kings make the final decision after speaking to their advisors. And most of the time the advisor was the queen. And a lot of times they didn't pay attention to the fact, because you think the queen just supposed to stand there and be pretty. A lot of kingdoms have risen and fallen by the word of the queen. So that's a team. That's how you work as a team. You figure out how to work your kingdom as a team. But like I said, a lot of times we talk to our little boys to try to be the king of your castle, to be the man in the house, and this, that, and the third. Well, to me, well, not even to me, I want to ask you guys, what is it, in your opinion, when you're teaching your son to be the man of the house? You're teaching them how to be the man of the house. Is it by the example that you're setting as JB and Rich and Roach? Or is it by telling, and of course, Bronny with Damon, or is it by you telling him as well? Do your wives, do your women, do your ladies get involved in that process as well, about teaching the other side of being a man? Bronny?
Mm-hmm. Definitely, we teach both ends, and a lot of times more so it's not even about what we say, it's what we do. those of you that know me already know that I have a very strong personality. I'm very opinionated, but I'm also cooperative. And that
And
is,
violent.
yeah, I am violent. I can be. Absolutely, I can be. I'm not going to lie. Like, you get me to that point, like, I'm going to take your throat out. But that's a whole different story.
That's my
But,
best friend. I'm always protected.
but I do believe in being cooperative. And not so much that it's always me that's saying, okay, let's do it your way all the time. If we talk and discuss and we decide, okay, well, my husband may know a little bit more about this subject than me, then okay, I'll let you decide. And if
Okay.
we talk and discuss and my husband say, well, I think you got this one, and then okay, so I'm gonna follow your lead on this one. So it's kind of like more, just like you said, a more of a team type thing versus somebody being submissive to somebody else. Even though, technically it says in the Bible that you're supposed to submit to each other. But
Right.
that's, I feel like it's more of a team type of thing.
It should be.
So we teach, more by example. And not that we haven't had any, conversations about that, but I feel like you can talk to children until they're blue in the face. But
Yeah.
what you tell them and what they see you do, they're going to mock what you do versus what you tell them.
Right.
Absolutely. What's up, Realistic Vibes? How you doing? If you want to, you can hop on into the panel. JB, what about you, my man?
I think the biggest thing that I hear is that this word submissive is the issue.
Right.
Mhm.
And the
Right.
problem is that you're taking it too literal in the literal sense of the word. I mean, yes, it is.
Mhm.
Because if you think about it, if you look up the meaning, it means to conform. It doesn't mean to give up your will.
Right.
I mean, if you look up the Webster definition, the first thing it says is to conform. Conform means to take the shape or take the structure that is going to be beneficial. It doesn't mean
Mhm.
give up anything. It doesn't mean that I give and you relent. It doesn't mean that you give and I relent. It means we take a position that's going to work for the better of what we're trying to do.
Right.
Mhm.
So,
But this is the oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I thought you were finished.
but what's happened is that we've taken that word and put it into what it means in a sexual or dominant conversation,
Yeah.
and taking it out
Mhm.
of the natural element. And the sexual submission, that's part of the BDSM terminology, where you're
Mhm.
subservient. You get a dog collar, they walk you around with a chain, or not to belittle or to demean those relationships. I'm saying that's just part of it. And
Yeah.
we're not talking about that. We're talking about
Yeah.
health. And don't get this wrong. We're not talking that can be a healthy relationship if that's what you find that you need. But what I'm saying is
Mhm.
a healthy relationship, as in steering someone towards a healthy diatribe with a significant other that they're trying to build a partnership with.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
we're clouding the issue. The whole idea is most people want to take that word submission and make it the slaved mentality of the word, and
Mhm.
the original origin of the word, which means to conform.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Okay. What about you, Rich?
Yeah, man. Well, he's a, he said it. I don't want to keep sounding like a mockingbird, but like he's on point. I was
Mhm.
to more of a partnership than anything because that's what I believed a marriage is. Like, of
Yeah.
course, you have your natural roles of who plays what, but that's between y'all two. Like, we can't go what the world says. Like,
Yeah.
if the
Yeah.
man
Yeah.
cook
right,
and you're hungry, why can't he cook? And it's up,
Exactly.
and then like in the stereotypical way, you think that the woman is supposed to be the cook,
I
and
Yeah.
actually
she's
have,
supposed to take care of the house. I'm sorry, I cook,
right,
and I'm a great cook. I know Darius is a great chef, in his own right. And sometimes I don't want what my wife is going to cook because it's not going to be what I'm going to cook.
Brother.
I think y'all should have a cook-off, and I want to be a judge. But go ahead.
So,
Me too.
I'm saying you have to do what you do best for your relationship. And so if she has to sit down and let me cook, and I have then one day or another when I've got the heebie-jeebies and she has to take out the trash because I can't get out of the bed, then she got to take out the trash. We do what's necessary to make the relationship work 100% at 100% of the time.
I ain't gonna say his name, but I had a coworker, right, who him and his wife, their roles was completely switched. She cut the grass, he did the car work, she did all that, he did all the housework, right? And D was from the military. Like, it was the weirdest thing, but they have the most beautiful relationship that I ever seen.
Okay. All right.
Mr.
Roach, what do you think?
I agree with the gentleman that was just speaking. You know, wholeheartedly. I don't want to sound like the mockingbird, like the gentleman said earlier, but I agree 100% with what he was saying.
Okay. Well, Shy, what about you?
I'm going to be a mockingbird and say I agree with that as well.
Well, you know, it's not even so much of being a mockingbird. It's just JBB saying some good shit.
Yeah, he do. He be hitting them.
This is why you invite somebody like JB on here, because he's gonna say some shit like diatribe and make it sound good, and then he's also going to say something crazy out of his mouth that's gonna make us laugh. So this is what we doing here.
That's right.
You know.
Well, let me say this, because the thing is, all of us on here understand the meaning of submission, even though because the word has been pounded and pounded and pounded. I'm not a fan of that word. Yes. I like cooperation. And the only reason why I'm not a fan of that word on either end is because of how it's been tainted over the years.
Yeah.
So the point in me saying this is, what do you say? Because I give you an example. It was a post that Shy put up, and it was a woman. And before y'all get started, let me just say this: she said she was an alpha male. Now, me personally, I don't believe in alpha, omega, and beta, and all that shit. To me, that's stuff for animals. Alpha and omega is for animals. We're too intelligent to classify ourselves as an alpha of this or omega of that or beta of this. It's just that you have your role. So that's my personal opinion. I don't believe in alphas and all that stuff. Maybe it's just me, and that's fine. But what she said was, I'm an alpha male.
Female.
She said, an alpha female. I'm sorry. She said, I can take care of myself. I'm independent. So I'm requiring from my mate to be able to match what I did. And when I tell you, like, she had this longest debate with someone because a man got on there and posted, he missed everything. And that's basically what we've all been saying is that your mate need to be able to do what you do, at least.
Yeah.
But because she got on there and said alpha male, it was just, she's never gonna get married. She ain't never gonna find somebody.
She don't need nobody.
She ain't gonna get nobody because she said she an alpha male. And first of all, ain't no such thing an alpha female. First of all, ain't no such thing as an alpha female. She an omega. And if you too independent that you can take care of yourself, that what you need a man for, and blah blah blah. It was just like, it was like this long drawn out thing. So what do you tell? And unfortunately, I feel like we're in that generation now where these men, not all, are going to that Bible and saying submit. They not saying nothing else. They just
see that one word,
one verse, and say and roll with it. So what do you tell the men that are now in this generation? That's why I say you guys all know that. We all know that. But what are you telling like your sons and younger men, and you know, people that you come across that have that mentality that to submit means you got to do what I said. Because I went and read like some of the comments under the TikTok, because the TikTok, and one man said, "My woman needs to understand that I'm the head of the household. So if I say the kitchen closed down at such and such a time, then the kitchen needs to close down at this time. If I say this in this house, then this needs to happen in this house because I'm the man of the house and I take care of her, and she need to do what she's told to do."
Because
That's the
he wants a
mentality.
slave and not a wife.
That's their mentality of what submit means. So
Well,
how
you
do
know
you
what?
come across, like I said, to the younger generation and your sons and your daughters and all that, to get them to understand, like, you can't take this one verse and run with it, because that's not what it means. That
And
whatever
You
it
know
you
what I
say
say?
goes,
hurts.
because
I'm gonna
that's a
tell you what I
child.
say to him. Because you know how they keep saying ain't no such thing as an alpha female. Motherfucker, have you ever seen a hyena?
But those are animals.
Have you ever seen a praying mantis? Have you
Yeah,
ever seen an orb weaver spider? Have you ever? There are alpha females in the animal kingdom and in the regular world. There's a such thing as these. They're female that have ambitious thought processes, and they're fearless. I mean, if you want to think of alpha female, how about let me see, Harriet Tubman. Do you think she was an alpha female, or do you
no, I
think she
don't.
waited around for
Me
somebody to help
personally,
her?
I don't believe in those titles. She
Yeah,
she has a strong mind.
yeah.
And
And see, the
that
problem,
doesn't make her able to, that doesn't make her beat out another woman, because in that aspect her mind was strong, and it could
yeah,
have been very well in another aspect her mind wasn't as strong. So
yeah,
because you're strong in one aspect, that does not make you an alpha female. Like I
yeah,
said, we as human beings have too much intelligence, that,
yeah,
because to me alpha female says I can beat out the pack.
yeah, yeah.
And
And see,
that's not something that we practice as humans. That we're not in competition with a pack.
well,
Where
that's the
animals,
thing.
of course, they
Are we
are in
not though?
competition with the pack.
Now, see, certain people have evolved to not have that pack mentality, but many of us do. There are many women out here that compete with one another.
For no
There are
reason,
many
though.
men out here that compete with one. Once you evolve to a certain elevation, then you've moved past that thought process. But there are certain people out here that do compete with one another. You would
Mhm.
think as human beings, we wouldn't be worried about that type of mentality. But there's a reason that some people always say, well, I dress like this for me, and I do this for me, and I do that for me.
Right.
I wear this for me. Some people do, and some people wear it so other people will notice over someone else. So we compete with each other
But
all the time.
they're in competition by themselves.
Yeah,
There's
but
nobody else.
Well, I don't know.
but see,
I
that's the
think
thing. If 10 people in the room are in competition by themselves, eventually they're gonna be competing with one another.
I hear that.
You know what I mean? Because eventually they're gonna worry about what that other person doing, and that other person gonna worry about what the hell they doing, as opposed to getting to a place where they get an understanding. Well, you know what? If I just concentrate on me, and a lot of people don't get that. There's too many people out here that don't have that, and a lot of times we don't teach our children, concentrate on you and stop worrying about what these other people are doing. And see, when
Mhm.
people say, like you say, Brian, the alpha male, alpha female theory and all of that other stuff, okay, yeah, it's out there. People have the mentality, but the problem is people think alpha means asshole,
Some of
and
them
that's the
do.
problem.
Mhm.
Alpha, that you say, if I'm an alpha, I got to be an asshole. That's not the truth. You know what I mean? It's not. You don't have to be an asshole to
So
be an alpha
beta is
male.
butthole.
Beta is a pumpkin.
Beta is butthole.
Yeah, beta's a booty hole.
Right, right.
But no, but honestly, like they get to a point to where they put these titles in place, and so many people really do not understand the actual meaning of being this very thing that they're talking about. Trying to be an alpha, you're supposed to be a leader,
Mhm.
which means that you don't just lead by barking orders. You lead by example, and you also lead by finding someone else who's just as comparable to you to lead, because every leader has a great person on the side of them to help them lead.
Mhm.
All leaders that I know, every general got a lieutenant or a captain or a colonel. Every ranking of the military has somebody right directly behind them that in case something happens to them, this person can step into that role.
Exactly.
So you can't be that leader if you don't have somebody else that's comfortable enough to actually be a leader right behind you, which means you train them how to lead like you. So the alpha male mentality, people think that I'm supposed to just tell you everything, and you're supposed to do this, and I'm the boss of this. You ain't the boss of shit if you ain't got no employee.
Basically.
You boss and fuck around, but you
yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But
I bet what's y'all think, fella?
I also think that there's this disassociation, like you had, Bron, with the alpha and omega and beta classifications. They
Yeah.
were psychological classifications that were given by PhD doctors that
Mhm.
weren't meant to be about a relationship status, but to be about a person's mental status and how
Mhm.
things. It was supposed to be a way to show how people diagnose problems. So if the alphas were people who looked at a problem and a solution a certain way, and it went down the line, people then assumed that, oh, if I do things this way, I'm an alpha. No, you could be a combination. You could be a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
and that's the problem.
Yeah.
I am an A-type personality, but I don't consider myself an alpha. I know when I feed off of my wife. I know when I feed off of other people in the room. So that's more of a person who understands,
Yeah.
their place and their
Like a
placement.
sigma. That's a
Mhm.
sigma.
Right. And the problem is you want everything is supposed to be, fluid. And we're trying to
Yeah.
make it infinite or definite. And
Yes.
that's the problem. So I have no problem with you not wanting to be classified as anything, because that's what human is about. Human is about you finding out in yourself what you feel. And if you say
Mhm.
that's like where, and like the whole LGBTQ plus, I don't know all the
The
different,
letters.
but I'm saying, they
You had
have
it right.
these different insignias and different ways of addressing themselves, because that's how they identify who they are as a human. Don't have a
Yeah.
problem. Just like I
Mhm.
have a problem with you saying that you don't deal with alpha, beta, or any of those classifications, because we're intelligent beings. We're sentient beings. We know these things. We can diagnose. You know,
Mhm.
everybody should be able to, and that's the problem. Everybody should be able to be is it apoplectic to each other's feelings and how they look at themselves,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and not judgmental.
Mhm.
Apoplectic.
Mhm.
You got her about to look up this word, bro. She think I don't know what she doing over here in the corner.
Mhm.
That's
Looking up
okay.
words.
Make sure I'm right. I believe that's the correct word.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What about you, Rich?
I don't want to be apoplectic.
I
I'm Googling it for both of us, Rich. All right, I'm on it.
I don't want to be it's like,
Did you
no.
just say Acapulco?
But nah, I agree. I think a lot of that shit comes from ego though.
Yeah.
Mhm.
A lot of it comes from ego. Man,
Yeah.
and
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I never considered myself any of that either. I'm just rich.
There you go.
Mhm. Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah. I've actually had
Money,
somebody
rich.
debate with me because I was like, I don't. They like, oh, you're an alpha female. I'm like, no, I'm not. Like, I am who I am. And no, if you look it up, you are the no, I'm not. I am who I am. I don't believe in those.
Mhm.
I don't.
Yeah.
Can I say this though?
What's that?
Brian, can you carry characteristics that make people understand that you are fit a certain trait characteristic that they know as that? It's like I can see that you're not gonna let anybody tell you what or who you are.
Right.
So that means that you have a definite stance on where you are in your life. That
Hmm.
doesn't, that doesn't mean that they're being trying to segregate you or classify you. They just see signs of people who have strong wills, and that's why they say that.
Yeah, I do understand their reasoning behind it. I do. I'm not, I'm
but
denying that.
Forcing a term on you. That's just the LGBTQ plus relationship. You can't put a term on anybody.
Yeah.
Who you are is who you are.
Right. What about you, Roach?
Are you still on here?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm still here.
He was asleep.
No, I'm actually editing. I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence.
Okay.
Kind of on the fence. Right now I don't have an opinion at this moment because.
What do you consider yourself?
I consider myself an alpha male.
That's his name. Alpha.
Okay. I'm glad you didn't hear what she just said.
He right heard me. He heard me. See, he heard me.
What is apoplectic, child? What does that mean?
Apoplectic is to overcome with anger, extremely indignant. That's what came up.
Right.
All right. What do you think about this as far as what we're talking about here with the alpha, beta, sigma, things of that nature?
I don't know what I am, but I'm me. And I have moments where I'm extremely strong.
Okay.
And I have moments where I'm a good listener and I follow. Depends on the situation.
Okay.
But overall, I don't really care what level of A, B, C, where I'm at. I know when I know what I want, I do what I want. Or
Yes.
So yeah, but I do know I'm not apoplectic.
There you go. Here's what I'll say. I have a classification. My classification is completely and totally different from all that other shit. I'm an asshole grizzly. That's a whole different part of all of this alpha, beta, sigma shit. I'm an asshole grizzly. I can be sophisticated in moments. I can be asshole in others, and sometimes I can be a combination of both. That makes me a grizzly. So as far as I'm concerned, all of that other shit, yeah, if you want to classify yourself as an alpha male or alpha female or whatever, what it is you don't want no bullshit because you ain't bringing no bullshit. And that's basically what it is. Right. So it's not even about trying to bring fear, because some people use those words like alpha and all of that other stuff. See, men use it to try to attract women. Women use it as a deterrent for bullshit men. And see, that's the thing. You don't have to be that, because we know for the right man, a woman will be submissive.
That is true.
And for the right woman, a man will reach the highest level. Not no damn white woman.
For the white woman.
Get your ass. You know better than that. No, for the right woman.
My wife is white.
There's nothing wrong
with
with that.
His wife is white.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Whose wife is white?
Roach said his wife.
I thought something about JB.
No, I know.
I thought JB said that. Yeah. No, but I wasn't worried about the color of nobody's damn wife. I said the right woman. I don't give a damn if she purple with 6 polka dots. I don't give a shit.
Right.
What I'm talking about is for the right woman, a man will reach the highest level of masculinity.
Right.
True.
So for the right person, you'll reach higher heights than you ever thought you possibly could. You know what I mean? So a lot of the times it's not just about what you can become by yourself. Sometimes another person that comes into your life, the right person come into your life, they can bring you to a higher plane of existence as far as you didn't know what you were capable of. And so in those instances, because some women are so strong-minded that they don't think that they could possibly be submissive until they find a man that they can trust with their life. When you find a man that you can trust with your life, that you know that before he let any harm come to you, he will allow death to come to him. She'll trust him. And a man knows that if a woman is a ride or die, he will move the world and move mountains out of the goddamn way to make sure she never has to touch anything. So for the right person, It ain't about being an alpha and omega. It's literally about being a great person and finding the right person to be that great person for, because everybody don't deserve that part of who you are. See, that's the problem. We're worried about being alpha and omega. Some of us don't reach these thought processes until somebody come into our life and fuck things up.
Mm-hmm.
So you start realizing or trying to put labels on different things because you didn't learn yourself up front. And that takes time. Everybody takes time to learn themselves. Some people learn themselves by 20. Some people learn themselves by 40 and 50 and 60. Some people get to that point and still, some people died still not knowing who the hell they are. But at the end of the day, when you figure out these things about yourself and you figure out the type of shit that you don't want to deal with, you don't have to classify yourself as an alpha, beta, omega, sigma, none of that shit. I'm just not dealing with the bullshit. And if once you put it that I'm not dealing with the bullshit, you don't have to scare the wrong people away, because the wrong people won't even come around, or you'll know how to spot them when they come.
Yeah.
Because people gonna try you regardless of whether they're wrong or right, but you'll know how to spot who they are.
Mm-hmm.
So we reached the segment of the
why
show.
call yourself an asshole then?
Why do I call myself an asshole?
Yeah, because that's not
simply.
what
I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why. Because when somebody try to hit me with the crunchy bullshit, I'm gonna be an asshole.
Yeah.
See, the only way that you can get the asshole out of me,
an asshole, that just makes you the type of person that responds to how people respond to you. That doesn't make you an asshole.
Oh, well, see, that's the thing. I classify it as an asshole because it's a different kind of asshole. It's not just a regular ass asshole. I'm a grizzly asshole. See, I have a different kind of response to your bullshit because it's crunchy bullshit. So we're gonna have to respond accordingly. So that's where the asshole comes in, the grizzly asshole. So we have reached a portion of the show where Coda is gonna bark us off the damn phone. But we reached a portion of the show where we're gonna talk about these drinks and these fragrances and all this other stuff. So JB, what you drinking? Rich, what you drinking?
Richie, what you drinking?
Daggone
I
dog.
hear a dog in the background, so this is apropos.
That's my dog.
Listen, it ain't the best.
What's it called?
It's called Bird Dog Apple. It's really sweet. I don't even want to get this shit promotion.
It's sweet. What kind of travel?
So he is drinking.
I tried something new.
Yeah, Bird Dog apple flavored whiskey, and that's what he's trying tonight.
That shit gonna have me on the toilet. Wow.
I'm probably gonna get by.
So honest, I like it.
The FBI is probably gonna come after me for this, but right now I'm drinking my favorite vodka, the Lichnia.
Okay.
From Russia.
Oh, okay.
Russian. Okay.
But I mean,
I thought Rich left them. Like they on their way.
I am sorry, but my brethren over in Russia who won't even let me in the country, probably, this is what I'm sipping on tonight. It's one of the smoothest vodkas I've ever found. It's got a sweet aftertaste. I drink it a lot. It's reasonably priced. It's not like my cognac and whiskey taste. This is probably on the bottom rung of vodka pricing that I buy in. Like, this is about a $4 bottle of vodka, but it's really good. I mean, my other drink tastes go up a bit more expensive, but if I just want a smooth vodka that I could drink plain, or maybe even with a twist or with a lime or a lemon, I go with Russian vodka. There's a couple different ones, but Stoli always seems to hit right in the right spot. I can talk, I can be coherent, and I can have a good time. And of course, drink responsibly whenever you're drinking, but Stoli is good. I did try the Bird Dog. The Bird Dog is way too sweet for me. I think the Bird Dog would probably lead me to a headache in the morning if I drank it like I would drink anything else. So if you like sweet drinks, it's something that you can mix and stuff, and it'll be fine. But it's really for me.
All I'm gonna say is
save us some for next week.
All I'm gonna say is I came in here, and after I took a swig, I got twisties. That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay.
Save me a little bit. Save me a little bit.
So
A bird dog?
I've got to ask. I've definitely got to ask. My brother,
What's up, bro?
we got to go to the Smelly portion of the show.
Smelly.
Yes, sir.
I know you got something special for him today.
Oh yeah. So today I've been talking about this for the last couple of weeks. This is gonna be the last time I mention this one because I'll be hopping on to a different one next week. But we're going to speak about once again this Habibi cologne, this white Moroccan leather, and I didn't get a chance to show you guys last week, but this is what it looks like here. This is the box that it comes in right here. Okay, and as you can see, they put a lot of ornate details into this and everything. So, and what you do is you slide this piece off right here, and it got the name of the actual cologne and everything, and then you pop this off right here, and next thing you know, bam. The bottle is nice. The cologne smells wonderful. I mean, hell, even the top is quality. I'm just telling you, this is a wonderful cologne. I'm gonna tell you what the top notes are. The top notes are white pepper and bright citrus and nutmeg. So you get all of that. You get the sandalwood, you get the white leather. I'm telling you, and I've had it on since about 7 o'clock this morning. It's still projecting right now. You can still smell it. So you got longevity, you got quality, and it was worth the price. This bottle right here run you about $100. So for quality, yeah, for quality though, for quality you can't beat it. You know what I mean? So this is the one that I'm rocking today. We're gonna go with a different one next week. We'll be on location at my man JB's studio. So be prepared for next week's show. It's gonna be a whole nother doozy. Hopefully I can get my raggedy ass laptop to work. But we're gonna move back on with the show. So here's another part of the hypocritical dad theory that I want to get into. The shit, and this may be a piggyback from last week's show.
Okay.
The shit we teach our boys, the thought process that we have when it comes to our boys and our young men, and how we some of us, not all men, but some of us push the narrative for our men to go out and conquer every young woman that they see.
So she just gonna bite that sandwich right there.
Oh, you already know she's gonna do it.
Did she hear me say I was hungry?
I think you heard. You can see. Okay,
Let me just go take a look.
Look at the chicken. Look at the chicken.
So they're just gonna bite it right in the screen like that. Like, it's all juicy.
So you got Captain America and Black Widow eating in the goddamn camera right now. That's all right. I'm gonna block out that camera now. No, but what do you think, sis? What do you think about the way that some of our men train our young men to go out here and conquer the world and conquer the women that are in it?
Yeah, I guess we discussed that last week as well.
We did,
and it is sad that that's the mentality, and sadly, it's just passed down from generation to generation. That you gotta sleep with everything walking, like your body isn't sacred. Like that's not okay.
Yeah,
it's not okay. Most like you want to get back to like the thought mentality that
piece of the burger though.
I think you messing up everybody's concentration because JB and Rich I believe is laughing at you and her Shirley's over here having growling pains in her stomach.
I'm so sorry, but I'm hungry. Y'all just want to deal with it. Like, it just is what it is. Like, now I'm having my asshole moment. It is what it is. I'm going to eat. And y'all going to have to watch me eat. And that's just, you know. Camera.
I ain't mad at you.
I am hungry in this moment.
Yeah,
but the job over.
Like I didn't, raise my son to feel like every woman that he came across, he had to be with sexually. Like it's supposed to be, to me, sex is a beautiful thing and it's supposed to be special. It's not something that's supposed to be meant for everybody that you see, or everybody that says I like you, or everybody that takes an interest in you. you have to sleep with them. Like it's a waste of energy, in my opinion. And I know
Yeah.
men take pride in, how many women they done slept with, but how does it, at the end of the day, how does that improve your life? Like, what have you gained from sleeping with all these women other than sleeping with all these women? Like, you don't know anything more. It doesn't necessarily make you a better man because you know how to sleep with 100 women. So what have you gained at the end of sleeping with 100 women other than probably a STD?
Well, wait a minute. Before I shoot it to the fellas real quick, you do learn a little something about being with a few other women in your life.
I mean,
Yeah, you
like,
learn a few tricks of the trade because the last thing you want,
and all that.
Because I was going to give a caveat to that statement.
This is
yes, sir.
like, you can learn all the tips and tricks that you want, but that don't mean that woman that you end up with is gonna like them tips and tricks, because at the end of the day, every woman's body is different. So you say you're gaining all this experience so you could be a better lover. You still have to learn your lover's body, because
That's
what works
true.
for the other 99 might not work for that 100.
Okay.
Well, she better
But if
learn
you ain't at least had 5 of them 99, you don't know shit. She may not be that patient.
Exactly. I was going to say that. I agree with what she's saying. You got to know your lover. But let's be real. We keep forgetting this one factor. A lot of women do down guys who don't have sexual experience.
That's true.
We've seen it.
It's true.
Do you even know what the hole is, sir?
Huh?
Yeah, they'd be like, do you even know where the hole is?
Say it again, because I was thinking.
Yeah, you at least gotta know where the hole is now.
Exactly, but come on, let's be real though. A lot of women will stray away from guys that haven't been sexually active. So we can't say it's always passed down from the man. It's a societal type of thing.
Yeah.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. Because women want you to be in a certain weight class when it comes to sex. They don't want to have to teach you a whole bunch of shit.
That's
They
true.
want
A handful of things is fine, but a whole bunch of shit, yeah, that's gonna be a no. That's gonna be a no.
Yeah, but that's kind of information you can't necessarily gain from sleeping with 100 women.
Not 100 women, but you gotta have at least 5 of them.
Yes, that
You
you
can
can.
deal with just 10 women to gain that experience. It doesn't, the body count doesn't make for the experience. It's basically how many times you've had sex. The body count is irrelevant.
No, I agree with that. I can agree.
I mean, I guess I could go with that. You know, if you are explorative with the person that you're with, if both of you have an explorative personality and you want to explore different things, then you can be with one person, learn a whole lot of shit, and go to another person and be good.
Yeah.
But that's if y'all. But if you deal with somebody that just lay her ass there, you get your ass there, and y'all just do the same goddamn thing like right there. Then you go to the next woman, she gonna blow your whole goddamn mind, and she gonna be mad because you finished fast.
I disagree.
Real fast.
All right.
Bro, she been
Go,
disagreeing all life.
What you got for us, bro?
I'm just saying, I mean, everybody's entitled to their opinion on,
Right.
I'm not saying the number, the body count matters, whatever it may be, but maybe that individual person feels that, they're gaining experience from the amount that they've been with because they're trying different things. Every single person is not the same. So, if you hooking up with somebody and they're showing you something different, then you're like, hey, let's see how this goes.
Okay. What about you, JB?
Well, before I got married, I learned a lot from every woman that I ever slept with. It wasn't like, and every woman that I slept with wasn't random. It was more pointed and for a reason. So I think that it all depends, like, because Let's be honest. Every woman I slept with, I wasn't looking for a relationship from.
Hell no.
He's a hoe.
You know, but every woman that I slept with, I learned a do and a don't and a maybe. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it.
So I mean, and I don't have a high body count. I mean, I got married when I was 21, so I mean, I don't have a high body count, but
Yeah.
I slaved. When I was there, I slaved. So yeah, it's quality. It's quality. It's quality. So, but,
But listen, I don't want y'all to misunderstand me when I say I don't have a problem with people just sleeping with people.
I don't either.
But
Me
I
neither.
do feel like in the quest for sleeping with people, I do feel like it should also be a standard. Like, I give you an example. Like, I don't have a high body count either, but I've slept with a few. But anybody that I have slept with, I looked at them as a potential partner. Like, just say for I even told my like I've only slept with men that I feel like if I slipped up and got pregnant, they were going to be a stand-up guy. I didn't
Yeah.
sleep with no,
your
you
body
know,
count.
a hoe or you know what I mean, or a man of bad character just because I felt like, oh, his dick is big, or he got this, or he got that. If you wasn't of a certain character, I just didn't even entertain you because I just believe in being selective as to who you sleep with, and not
Yeah.
that because maybe I had an intention on marrying them. I just always kept the thought in my mind, like, man, if I sleep with him and the condom bust and I end up pregnant, like, what kind of nigga is he gonna be if I go to him and tell him I'm pregnant? You
Yeah.
know, I was selective in the character of me that I'm supposed to give myself to.
Yeah.
You never had like a practice buddy? You ain't never had like a practice body?
Who?
A practice body.
A practice buddy.
New.
Nah,
Yeah, that's new.
fuck no.
A practice buddy.
I had no damn practice, buddy.
My father told me.
Yeah, hoes.
No,
Yeah,
I
practice
never
Friends with
did.
benefits.
Huh?
Or friends with benefits, basically.
No, when I was younger, I had hoes.
Uh,
And when I got older, the friend was friends with benefits. But when I was younger, they was just hoes. I was a hoe too, so it all fit.
Right.
You know, everybody in the room was a hoe. But as I got older, it was the whole, I mean, because most of my life I've been married. So I didn't got married twice in my life. So that's at least 15, 17 years of my life.
That's a whole conversation in itself.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't getting into that one. But anyway, I've been married twice in my life. But of course, I've had the friends with benefits. Now, the friends with benefits are a hell of a lot classier than them hoes when I was younger. Because, when you a young man, you'll probably fuck a porch. So, you don't really give a damn where you put that thing at. You might. Look, you already know most young men, you got to talk them off the ledge to fucking Bubquisha that for a fact got at least 4 or 5 of things going on with her, and his little ass may not be inclined to use some sort of protection because he can't feel. You know what I mean? So you had to feel your little young homies off the ledge back in the day. I'm not gonna say I was that guy, but I'll say I was teetering on the edge at that point right there. But as you get older,
I'm gonna tell you to this day, I just went and did a condom check when I was here in the studio and realized there are no condoms here in the studio because every so often somebody comes and be like, yo Jay, you got a condom. I'm like, what the hell I'm gonna have a condom for? But yeah, I do. What do you need here?
That is true. I saw his thumb. He wasn't pointing at me. He was pointing back there.
Yeah, because that's
check this out, bro.
I don't know, Rich. I don't know. That he was kind of like, I don't know.
Kind of like nudged it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like this.
Yeah. So I'm saying that because even today, even with friends with benefits, this is the craziest thing. I feel that we're living in a time where sexuality and sex and everything is so open and so accepting, and you can talk to people and find out if they want to give you sex, and you can ask them, "Hey, can we go get a test? Can we make sure we're good?" And nobody feels offended by that. And you can say, "I'm going to use a condom," and nobody should feel offended by that. And
Yeah,
they still don't do the right thing.
exactly.
Exactly.
You even have
Yep.
an app on your phone that's a consensual app.
Really?
Right.
Yeah, there's a phone. There's an app that's
He
a
said, "I want
consensual
to
app.
have sex
You
with
can
her,
be
and I
consent
want
to
to have
sex.
sex with
That
them."
way, if you consent to that sex, and that girl comes later and tries to say, "Well, he raped me," you can show all of these points. And she
On
signs it.
that,
If she signs the document, you consented to sex.
right?
And she had to sign it every time they have
Yeah.
sex?
I would make her ask.
Or was it just one time for like the
No,
30
no,
days?
because I look at it like this. Every time I touch you, well, here's the thing. If I feel like I gotta ask you to sign a piece of paper to have sex with you, I'm probably not gonna accept.
Yeah, that's
That,
kind
that
of,
means I'm questioning the situation already.
that's like a
You know,
prenup.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's
You
a
don't love
sexual
me.
prenup, and I don't know about it. But here's the thing: in some situations, especially they created for young men that are in football and basketball and stuff. It was
Drake.
created for those
It was
guys.
created for Drake.
Yeah, I mean, it was
Mhm.
created for all those guys because of the fact that a lot of the times these things will happen with these young men, and these women will say, "Well, no, he raped me, or he did this, or he did that, or whatever." And some of them, now don't this isn't taken away from the women who actually got raped in the process of this happening, but we're talking about the scumbag ones that will blame a young man for something that he did not do and ruin
And
his
it's a
life.
lot of
Yeah, so they
Mhm.
created that app to say, if you sign this, you consented.
them. Right.
If you sign this, you consented. You know what I mean? So it's just like one of those things that they had to create. It's the same that you have to create something like that nowadays. But I also look at it like this. It's also a protection. It's also a protection not just for the young man, but for the young lady as well. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? So it's a protection for everybody involved. You know, and I also look at it like this: if somebody's coming at you and saying, "Hey, um, uh, I need you to sign this," just to say that this is something that you're saying you're okay with, that you don't have a problem with or whatever. But at the end of the day, like I said before, do I really want to have sex with somebody that I feel like I got to get them to sign a book or
Mm-hmm.
sign on a dotted line on a piece of paper?
Yeah.
We got a
Yeah.
comment coming in at the bottom. This is
What's
from a
crazy
man,
is
Dirt Pod. What does it say, Joshua?
Rape is a horrible thing to have hung over your head if you didn't commit the crime.
Absolutely,
Mhm.
absolutely. It's damn sure horrible because I mean, there's so many young men. And you know what? I have to look to see if there are any females out there that have this hanging over their head. But there are a lot of young men out here who didn't commit that crime,
Mm-hmm.
and they've
Mhm.
lost their lives, their careers, and all of that stuff simply because he upset a girl.
Or it could even
Mhm.
be as simple as
I was
he was
I was
18
accused of it.
and she was 17 or 16 and her parents didn't want them together.
Yeah. What'd you say, Roach?
Saying
I was
something.
accused of rape.
Oh, a word?
Yep. I
Did you
was
want to get into it, or you just want to keep it
oh
there?
I don't care. I was at the time I was working for NASA out in Greenbelt, and I was dating this older lady. Meanwhile, my girlfriend was away in college, so we weren't really gonna be getting back together or whatever. So we had that all right, I'll see you later sex.
Okay.
Well, she ended up getting pregnant. So I told the chick, and at the time the chick was living in Colombia. Next thing you know, probably like a week and a half later after me telling her, I get a phone call while at work from a Howard County detective talking about they want to interview me for a rape. I'm like, what? What? And it was, oh my gosh! I didn't go through um, much of any issues because when I explained to her the situation, she said, okay, well, she's supposed to come in for a formal interview and I'll take it from there and see what happens. Somehow or another, the chick up and moved, and the detective couldn't find her, so she just completely dropped it. But just imagine if that didn't happen, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, the chick ended up being like fucking psychotic. She found me when I had moved. She followed me. She followed my wife. She came to my house. She threatened to blow up my car. When I had left NASA and went to the police department, 2 years later, the bitch shows up at the district. Now, like, how the fuck did you know where the hell I was at?
Well, goddamn.
But, you know, yeah, it was. She showed up a second time and ended up drawing and pulling my gun on her.
Oh, you did?
Oh, you goddamn right. Because now I feel you a threat. Yeah, we were sitting right outside the Eastern District, right on Lanville Street. She popped out of her car, and I pointed my gun right at her because I didn't know what she was gonna do.
I feel you. You know, and the thing about it is,
but yeah, you know, it's like it's a damn shame how many people either have gone through the bullshit or are in jail because of a consensual sex moment with the female.
exactly.
And of course, you got the ones that are stars, that are women, you know, trying to get the money, you know, like Tupac, Mike Tyson, you know, them kind of things. But, you know, you got to do your best not to put yourself in that situation, but you don't know if you are or not. You know, it's fucking like
Crazy.
Eddie Murphy said, it's like Russian roulette with your dick, you know?
Yeah.
So
yeah, you never
How
know.
long
Like,
did you know her before you decided to sleep with her? Did you know she was crazy and you just took your chance?
No, she displayed none of that shit. I mean, when I say the bitch like did a complete 360, she did a complete 360. All right.
Mhm.
Now, this no offense to nobody. So she's like really dark skinned and she has very white eyes. So when I was
I
on
know her.
I know, right? When I would go to work, I would stop at the Denny's. I would stop at a Denny's to have a cup of coffee, and I would be looking in the mini blinds, and I'd see her. She would be peeking through the blinds from outside. I'm like, what the fuck?
You got pancakes?
Huh? I didn't hear you.
I said you
he
got
wanted to know if
pancakes.
you got pancakes.
She was looking at
Yeah,
you.
all the time. Pancakes and coffee. I was throwing down some slapjacks. But yeah, man, you know, it's just really fucked up.
A great philosopher once said, "A lot of real Jesus doing time because a groupie bit of truth and told a lie."
Yeah.
Is this man? Can he quote rappers again? I thought we asked you not to do that. Goddamn it!
As soon as he said a great philosopher, I already knew.
Oh shit! This man about to rap at us.
But you know, this is the funniest part is that that's a serious part of the philosophy on dating and actually the sexual revolution that's been going on, because there's so many people who have been accused of things that they did that was consensual that later on was deemed not consensual, and then you get judged for something that you know was different from when you met someone.
Yeah.
I mean, luckily, you know, a lot of us have been, you know, careful with how we use our appendages.
Yeah. So with that being said, though, with that being said, the reckless way that some of our fathers were very reckless with how they taught us when it came to women and things of that nature. Like, I'm not gonna say my father said that, but some of the guys that I came up with, some of the guys that were kind of like father figures and uncles, especially my uncles. My uncles were horrible. My uncles was like, boy, you better go out there and get as much as you can. But I'm telling you right now, if they offering it, you better take it. And I grew up with those thought processes, but now, because of so many different ways that you can be harmed as a young man, because we always tell these young women how to protect themselves, but we some of us fail to mention to these young men, how do you protect yourself? How do you get caught up in these types of situations where you're having kids out of wedlock, where you're having kids with a woman that could potentially be dangerous and detrimental to your life, to your livelihood, to anything that you have going on positive. That's the end of the road. And it's not putting shit on women, but there are some shit women out here, And before we go on with the answer to that, I wanted to say, my man Dirt Paul, he wanted to know, so do you have this paperwork signed each time you have relations with that same person? I don't know for sure. I think that's how it goes. I'm not sure.
No, actually, once you have their signature in that app,
it
says they are consensual, then there's no reason to go past that, because if you have sex with them again, you can just put in a date.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, but will that hold up in court?
But that part I don't know. I'm not sure if it'll hold up in court, but I do know.
I was gonna say no, because if she says no the next time, like they go home and she says no, but he'd be like, well, I got this contract with you, but that was for that time.
See, I would think that would every time.
I think they both have to sign into the app.
It doesn't matter. Listen what I'm saying. At any time during sex, a woman says no,
it's over.
It's over. You get your ass up, wrap it up, and go home.
Yeah.
Finish off in the car or wherever you got to finish off. But you better get up out of her.
Why are you worried about finishing off? Just get the fuck off.
That's what I'm just saying. I'm talking about.
I'm just adding a little bit of levity. That's all.
Yeah, because you know how some brothers be though. Come on, now, you know how brothers like, come on, don't leave me like this. Don't give me like this.
Yeah, you gonna leave it. And see, I'm be honest with you.
I've
had a female do that to me. I've had a woman do that to me. We're in the middle of it, and she started getting guilty feelings or some shit, and she was like, "Look, this ain't right. We got to stop." I got my ass up and said, "All right," and I went somewhere else and finished up. Then she got mad. Well, I mean that little to you. You don't mean shit to me at that moment.
You told me to stop. If I don't,
you told me to stop. I stopped. I did what you said. I stopped, but didn't mean I wasn't supposed to start somewhere else.
Right.
I stopped. You know.
Their boss said women have the luxury to change their mind in the middle of the X. Keep that in mind.
Yeah. Like what you say, Sha? Their boss
said women have the luxury to change their mind in the middle of the X, so keep that in mind. Exactly.
Yeah.
You too. Yeah. Men have that luxury.
We do too.
That's not a luxury.
Usually don't.
Now we don't most of the time. Now most of the time we have the right, but we most of the time don't have the ability. Mm-hmm. We got the right, but the ability. Now if she says get up, we do have that. We understand. Get your ass up. But we might feel like, man, I don't know if I should be doing this as we're stroking. We're not gonna stop until we're done.
What would make you stop?
What would make you stop?
Yeah.
What would make you stop in the middle of an act of sex? Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. If she came on the rag in the middle of it, I'm up. I don't want the rest of it to look like a crime scene.
Red River.
Yeah. If the crimson tide starts flowing, then I'm
Don't scare me.
Fuck that.
Oh, he run red lights.
Oh, you run red lights.
I got my red wings.
No, you said in the middle. I mean, if it's in the middle, you don't have no.
You probably don't know what's happening.
Oh no, because you know what that feels like. It's different.
Yeah.
I've got caught up in the middle of the crimson tide. That shit's sticky.
Mm-hmm.
So it's sticky before you get sticky.
So you can smell the difference.
Yeah, you can smell it. Yeah, and look, I ain't no goddamn vampire. I ain't trying to get all bloodied up, man.
So what's another thing that make you stop in the middle?
Oh, if you start coughing and shit, like if we're in the middle of you,
COVID,
I'm out.
Oh, you
But it makes the pillow contract, so it feels good.
Right.
just put a pillow.
you know, it's got a positive side of it.
And close up and clamp up on you. Like,
So all you do is you use the pillow as a shield. Or just
Right.
put it in the
Pillow up.
so smother the motherfucker is what you're saying.
You got the pillow
I know, right?
But just
sure
put
you're
it
not
up as a
smothering
shield.
her.
Sean, don't listen to them. Your ass going to jail. Don't listen. You going to jail. I'm telling you now.
Like this, you say?
Is that what you're talking about right there?
There you go. That's what you gotta do. Or
I'll be
you just
damned.
like turn around.
Now your ass got assault charges.
He's gonna put a mask on.
Go ahead, put assault charges. Go ahead.
Shit.
Nah.
Angry face up.
I don't know who putting up angry faces. Who mad up in here, man?
I got the investigation.
Who pissed off? Who mad?
I don't know.
Everybody mad up in here? Oh, I'm sorry.
Who mad? Who mad?
Somebody said the angry
I'm sorry, but we don't really care if you're mad. But I mean, you know, it's okay that you be mad. You have that feeling if you like. But we happy on this one. We laughing and shit.
Third process smell on Rudy.
Smelling on Rudy. What are you?
Who's Aunt Rudy?
Who on Rudy, bro? You gonna have to explain that one, man.
Mothballs?
Mothball. That's Trudy. That's not Trudy.
I got a question for y'all.
Hold up.
If-
Can we go back to
If
the
the,
consensus
if
joint?
the girl fought, are y'all gonna stop?
Hell no.
Nah.
What if your face down there and she fart?
Right.
Hell no.
Nah.
It's
I mean-
just a little bubble.
I mean, it is a little seasoning to the situation. Wait a minute, hold up. Hey, JB, wait a minute. That depends on what the hell it smell like. If it smell like everything inside your body went rotten, you in the fuck up, and I'm gonna call you a doctor.
Ground beef.
Real beef. Well, she was just eating the hamburger.
Go ahead. What was you saying, Rich, about the consensual thing?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. It's a safer alternative, but honestly, we talking about a logical thought and an unlogical moment.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
You really talking about that? So it's like sometimes you just don't know. Like I've been in situations where I was told no, and I was like, "All right, babe." And it was like, "Why you stop?" You said no. Like not really a logical moment right there. So sometimes you just don't know. I've never been accused of nothing, but
Yeah. Look, if I've ever heard no, I'm out.
Throw out that disclaimer.
Look, if I ever hear no, I'm out.
I was just saying, like, I ain't
Look,
like,
I feel you.
I tell everybody the story about my manager at Fuddruckers. That dude got accused. He didn't do nothing, and his whole damn career was over. Whole career. Just because she simply said he did it and try to get me to be a witness for her. I was like, hell no, he didn't do nothing like that. And I thought he was gonna be good. Nope. After he moved his whole damn family to Baltimore from Virginia, he lost everything.
see, that's a lot of power. That's a lot of power that's being misused.
Yeah.
I ain't with none of that.
And see, that's why it's important and imperative that a lot of these hypocritical stereotype of hypocritical theories that we have as men, as fathers, have to be shot down, because we got to protect our young men just like we protect our daughters. Because our young men, once our young men leave our house, they out in the wilderness and they have no idea what the hell to do with themselves. Like, because a lot of kids, they go to college, they go buck wild. You know what I mean? And you're supposed to kind of go buck wild in college. You know, it's college. But I mean, you have to still equip them with some of the knowledge that they need so that they don't go crazy enough to the point to where some shit like what happened to the manager, Damon's manager, or what almost happened to Roach or shit like that. You know what I mean? So it's just like we have to talk to them and equip them with the knowledge that they need so that they won't, or at least won't walk into making a mistake without knowing, without having the knowledge first. At least I talked to you. I talked to you and I told you about it. What you choose to do with that knowledge is on you. But I did tell you this could possibly happen.
Right.
You know, so, but you know what? We're not gonna be on too long tonight because we done throw in an hour and 20 minutes, and y'all know I don't like to be on all night.
And I'm hungry.
And and Lady Child's growling over here. So not growling literally. She hasn't growled at me. But
I'm so sorry.
But what I want to do is I want to get everybody's closing thoughts tonight. But we're gonna start with my man Roach. What's your closing thought, my brother?
My closing thought is, just be safe. Think about what you're doing before you do it, and keep your family safe. And I appreciate y'all.
Thank you, man.
Thank you,
Miss Brown.
I don't have a closing statement. I pretty much, like I said, I wanted to talk about that subject because I do think that it's something to think about. Like when we're raising our children, are we raising our children to be a good husband or wife or girlfriend or boyfriend, whatever your end goal is? Like how are we raising our children to be to be that person for someone else, their significant other.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
JB.
Well, I mean, for me, first of all, thanks to everybody that was part of the panel, and also thanks to Grizz, because we wouldn't be able to say what we say if you weren't part in the way. So for me, I think the biggest thing that I could take away from this is make sure you're bringing up your sons and daughters equally, to know that there's an equal role in a relationship for both of them. You can't have a balanced relationship without giving equal responsibility to your daughters or your sons. Don't make anything more important or less important to either one of them, because then you're feeding into stereotypes and mentalities that don't work anymore, or never really work. Most of our family situations settled, and when you settle, you end up in divorce. You can't progress unless you're both working toward the common goal. So make sure that you're treating your sons the same way you're treating your daughters. In the words of the immortal poet Jay-Z, treat your first like your last and your last like your first.
Mr. Rich.
Yeah. My last words is just stay focused, head above water. And baby, if you too fly, you gotta find a new guy.
What?
Wow.
Damn it, man.
You ain't understanding your
Shy, would you like to even follow that right there just now?
Hell no. Hell no.
You made me forget what I was going to say. Thank y'all for coming on. First off, thank y'all so much. This was a very good topic. Thank you, Bronwyn. Dusty. It's sad that we had to send our boys out with a disclaimer, our kids out with a disclaimer in the first place. But teach girls, boys, whatever, trust, how to respect, how to love. All those combinations together help make them a better person. Mm-hmm. Teach them how not to be lazy, because if they go out into the streets and lazy, they can't provide, they can't protect. And that's all I got.
Well, my parting words are this. First of all, I want to thank everybody for coming on to the show. I appreciate all of you. And my parting words are this. If you give them the ammunition that they need, they'll always hunt for the right thing. So that's the main thing. If you give the children the ammunition that they need, meaning giving them the ammunition, the tools, and the knowledge to hunt for the right thing instead of anything, They may, not always, because some kids make their own choices, and most kids make their own choices, but some of them actually follow your lessons. If you give them the tools and the ammunition and teach them how to hunt, they may absolutely hunt and find the right thing and come away a better person for it. So I want to thank everybody for coming on to the Grizzly tonight. We appreciate you. Once again, we want to say like, share, subscribe to the show. It we need a little. We would like to have some more followers, but we love the followers that we got. We love the people that's already on here. So once again, like I said, like, share, subscribe. If you like what we had to say, we want to thank you. We love you. We appreciate you. And thank you once again for the words of my words of my immortal homeboy, Mr. JB. Thank you for not coming with the crunchy bullshit. So, if you don't like what we had to say, you got a problem with what we had to say, and you got some shit that we got shit to say about what we had to say, here's the fuck we got to say to you. Everybody, shut your mouth. Shut your black ass mouth. Good night.
Peace, y'all.
Peace.